Now, we can only imagine the unbridled fear of a failed lightfold jump to another system, Tau. The uncertainty of it all, the helplessness that the crew would have felt, and of course the madness that then would have descended from the chaos of that failed jump. Only this isn't Event Horizon or the flight of the Eisenstein. There is no Ignatius Grulgor or Nathaniel Garrow to save you, just children screaming, adults losing their minds while trying to kill one another. Rel is also somewhere on the ship with his mom Kay, who's also going crazy. And we now know that in the middle of all of this you had the man in the wall making a deal with a version of ourselves. It kind of paints a very dark picture. And then that ship reappears as if it never left, fully intact with no damage to it whatsoever. It was full environmental as if it had never left. The ultimate fate of the Zariman and its crew when it failed that jump into the fold or void is still something of a shrouded mystery. Yes, we know the basics of what happened and the end result, but what exactly happened on board during all of this madness, all of this chaos? It's hopefully something that a light will be shone on with the upcoming Angels of Zariman update next month, where we might get a few more additional breadcrumbs of lore that help us out. But I wanted to take a look at one of the oldest codex entries for a primed Warframe that dates back to the discovery of those children on the reappearing Zariman. And it's one that I wanted to bring a little bit of life to, since it is just a text entry in the codex in-game. But if you would like to see more videos like this, then my Patreon is linked in this video's description. Any support will go towards voice actors and hopefully getting some art drawn up for these scenes as well. But this is the codex entry, so enjoy.
Three figures waited behind a simple table, their attention on a single chair bathed in light. An old woman's voice from the shadow. "Send her in." Across the room, a security officer, stern and plain, opened the door. The outline of a young woman appeared at the door. She hesitated, but only for an instant, then crossed the room and sat. There was a gasp as the light hit her face. Her right eye was bright and blinking, but her left was a greasy slit. Her skin had been burned moon white. Her mouth was a sagging gash without lips or expression. Her military beret was pulled snug over a scarred and hairless scalp. The old voice. "Your name is Colleen?" Colleen nodded. "You are the principal investigator of the Zariman." Colleen's voice was a jagged whisper, a rigid face. "Yes." Colleen coughed, straightened. "The Zariman was lost making the fold from Saturn to the outer gates. Mechanical failure. I notified families and filed a report with the inspectors. Nothing ever returns from the fold, so I closed the case." "But you reopened the case days later?" "I didn't believe it myself until I stepped aboard the ship. It was completely intact. Full environmental, as if it had never even left." "And the crew was gone?" "Not exactly." Colleen hesitated. "We thought it was empty, but we began to find..." Her face twitched at remembered pain. "We began to find children hiding in the ship." "And that is when you violated procedure?" Colleen bowed her head, a tear welling in her sightless eye. "They were children. They were afraid. They needed comfort." "So, you broke quarantine and this happened to you?" There was silence as Colleen touched her face. "So, what have you done with them?" The old woman gestured for the officer to take Colleen away. The meeting was over. When Colleen reached the door, she twisted out of his grip and shot back. "Why would you do that? Why did you put children on a military ship?" "We didn't. That would violate procedure."
Now, the one thing I like about this codex entry the most is probably the very last line, where the interrogator basically says that they didn't put children on the military ship because that would violate procedure. And it shines a light on the fact that the Orokin we know were very okay with running experiments on normal people in order to advance what they wanted in terms of the transference for themselves into other people's bodies, or the fact that they set loose the infestation in order to grow it and had it on planets. And these whole planets were basically like massive greenhouses for growing this infested plague. And here we have them being accused of putting small children on a military ship and point blank refusing to acknowledge that that's what they did. No, we would never do something like that. We are not that kind of people. But it's obvious they were. The Orokin were fucking evil. As well, if you do some research on Colleen over the last few years, because it is quite an old codex entry, there is a lot of brilliant theories in the community with how Colleen and Margulis might be one and the same, simply because of their love for the Tenno and wanting to comfort them, but also with the fact of them being blinded by the Tenno, and Colleen is sightless in one eye due to the burn marks. But again, it is all guesswork, and DE have never really elaborated any further on this particular codex entry, as well as a lot of other ones in the game, so a lot of it is guesswork, and the chances of them being the same person are very, very slim and far between, because one was a soldier and the other was a high-level Orokin researcher or a scientist, so they're probably not the same person. But it is kind of interesting, or I guess fun, to maybe speculate between the one and the two. It would be nice, right? It would be nice for DE to, I guess, connect a lot of these really older codex entries. Now, if there is any codex entry or lore point from within Warframe that you would like me to bring to life in a video, then please feel free to let me know in the comment section below. I have been looking at maybe covering the Lorist on Tala, Rembala and Dax Men's infested ancient codex entry next. It is probably one of the best pieces of lore in relation to the infestation within the game, but it's one that you would have to seek out for yourself. If you're just someone like me for the last few years who is just mainly focused on guns and damage and Warframes, then this is a really nice change of pace for a game that, I'll be honest, I'm a little bit burnt out on, but I still have a lot of love for at the same time. But anyway, that's the video. Let me know what you think of it in the comment section below. Apologies for my voice. I am still recovering from COVID, so my voice is a little bit gone right now. Have a great day, and as always, thanks for watching.